Hey guys, Brad here today from the OFAH Heritage Center. Today's lesson is all about one of North America's swamp-dwelling mammals, muskrats. In today's lesson, we'll aim to answer 5 questions all about muskrats. How do we identify muskrats? Where do they live? What do they eat? What are they well known for? And can you harvest muskrats in Ontario? So stick around as we learn all about these interesting mammals. How do we identify muskrats? Muskrats are a member of the rodent family, which is fitting as they closely resemble a large rat that has adapted to aquatic conditions. Muskrats range in color from dark brown on the head and back to light gray or tan on the belly. Some muskrats may be tan, yellow, or silver in color, and occasionally we even find albino muskrats. Overall though, most muskrats are closer to that dark brown color range. Muskrats have a rounded body shape with a pointed head, small ears, which are hidden beneath their fur. The average adult weighs 1 kilogram and measures about 50 centimeters from nose to tail, which is about the length of a newborn baby. They have several specialized features fitting them for life in and around the water. First, muskrats have a vertically flattened tail, which works just like a paddle to propel them in the water. They also have valve-like flaps of skin to close off their nostrils, ears, and mouth for underwater feeding and traveling. Their feet are not webbed like those of the beaver or otter, but each hindfoot has a fringe of special hairs which makes swimming easier for muskrats. Their tail is scaled for protection and, much like their feet, are fairly hairless. This feature helps them to regulate body temperature, especially in warm weather. Their front feet, which are smaller than their hind feet, have large claws, and they use these claws for digging and manipulating their food, as well as building lodges, which we'll talk about later. They have 4 incisor teeth, 2 on each jaw, and they're about 2 centimeters long and used for snipping off vegetation. Much like the teeth of a beaver, their incisors grow continuously and they're worn down by chewing. Where do they live? Muskrats can be found throughout Ontario, and they're one of the widest ranging mammals in all of North America. They can be found in freshwater marshes, marshy areas of lakes, and in slow-moving streams and rivers. The water they live in must be deep enough that it will not freeze through to the bottom in winter, but it also has to be shallow enough that plants can grow abundantly. This means they often live in areas where the water is 1 to 2 meters deep. They prefer to live in areas with good growth of bulrushes, cattails, pondweeds, and sedges. And this underwater plant growth supplies muskrats with food and building materials. When you are in muskrat habitat, you can see compact mounds of dried and dead plant material piled with mud. They're often seen along the shoreline. These dead-looking humps are muskrat lodges. Lodge building is an important part of being a muskrat. Building lodges allows them to live in areas surrounded by water and in some cases quite far away from land. Lodges protect them from predators and give them shelter from the weather. Muskrats build their lodges by heaping up plant material and mud to make a mound. Then, they dig a burrow into the mound from underneath the water's surface, and then a chamber is opened up in the middle of the mound. After it's hollowed out, the walls of their lodge are made thicker and stronger with more plants and mud. In the winter, muskrats do something very interesting. They chew holes in the ice in bays and channels. This creates something we call push-ups. After a hole is chewed through the ice, plant material and mud are used to make a roof over the hole, making a miniature lodge. Usually, these only have enough room for one muskrat. These push-ups are used as resting places and spots to eat while they're swimming far away from their lodge. What do they eat? Muskrats are primarily herbivores. They most prefer cattails as their favorite food item, but they're also known to eat bulrush, horsetails, pondweeds, wild rice, and willows. In the winter, when the top layer of water around them becomes ice, they dive down and collect food mainly from underwater. If they're close to their lodge, they will bring the food back there. But if they're further away from the lodge, this is where their push-ups are necessary for them to stop and get a breath, rest, and squeeze in a quick meal. Muskrats are known to be able to hold their breath for up to 17 minutes underwater, which is an impressive feat. In very rare circumstances where plant food becomes scarce, muskrats can be known to switch their diets. In these rare emergency occasions, muskrats have been known to eat fish, clams, and frogs, but this isn't a typical part of their diet. What are they well known for? Muskrats can conserve oxygen by restricting blood flow to their organs. This means they can remain submerged for a very long time, up to 17 minutes. This is very rare for most mammals to be able to hold their breath for this long. They do so by reducing their heart rate, relaxing their muscles while underwater. This allows them to use less oxygen and to remain submerged for longer. Muskrats are also known for their musk. Males have scent glands beneath the skin in their anal regions. These glands produce a yellowish, musky smelling substance that they deposit along their travel routes. This musk is a means of communication, particularly during mating season. Muskrats are also well known for their teeth. I mentioned earlier that their teeth grow constantly and must be maintained by chewing and wearing them down. Unique to both muskrats and beavers is the fact that they can actually close their mouths to seal off water from entering behind their front teeth. This allows them to chew effectively and efficiently while underwater without intaking water to their mouth. They're able to do this as their teeth protrude out past the edges of their mouth. Our last question today is, can you harvest muskrats in Ontario? The answer is yes. Muskrat pelts are harvested to be sold on fur markets. They can sometimes be considered a nuisance to private landowners, and trapping can be used to control muskrat populations. Muskrats may not be hunted, but only trapped by a licensed trapper or landowner. Landowners may only trap them where they have been considered a nuisance. Trappers require a trapping license to legally harvest fur bearers in Ontario, and they can only do so during open seasons. Trappers must also possess a valid outdoors card with a hunter accreditation. Now that we've learned a little bit about muskrats, next time you're around a swamp or a marsh, keep an eye out for their lodges. Perhaps you might even spot a muskrat in the wild. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and comment below. Don't forget to check out the resources section of our webpage. There, you'll find free printable resource material like mini lessons and activity pages to follow up the virtual lessons. And please subscribe to stay connected with us outside the classroom.